Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary... Are you good?
Yes.
Legendary Lore, where I am not here with Joe. Sorry, Joe is off trying to get peace deals working with a group in Dominaria while Phyrexians are currently attacking everything. He should be fine. What we have here instead is my wife.
Hi.
This is Carol. She's going to have her own little card frame. As you can see, it's no longer going to be Joe's. Yeah, it's great. Anyways, so today we're actually going to be wrapping up the Dominaria set. We just had the whole bit with Nyambi, which was admittedly one of our slower episodes, but now we're basically going to have a whole bunch of legendary creatures. Everybody who kind of got a card, but never actually got real story behind them. That's what we're going to be covering today, in alphabetical order even. So this is going to be a two-part episode. We'll go ahead and just start it up with Aaron Bonalius Ruin. Aaron Capuchin, to be exact. He essentially was a leader of Bonalia until he was completed by Urte, and then everything was terrible, and then he got his daughter to kill him.
Oh.
Also, Carol has no idea about anything in magic lore. So that's an interesting part of this whole deal. For context, Aaron Capuchin was a descendant of Gerard Capuchin, who was the original guy who defeated the Phyrexians the first time around.
Right.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. Why are you here?
You asked me.
Next up, we have Astor. He is an ancient Dominarian hero. He's also a Keldan warlord. Keld is basically a group of war barbarians that destroy everything in sight because they're super epic.
Like a game.
Sure.
Or Genghis Khan.
There you go. That's much closer. So, Astor's whole deal was that he was essentially a legendary hero, and the people thought he was dead. Because he was from far in the past. But it turns out that he had been aboard the Golden Argosy for centuries.
So he was just so old, they assumed he was dead.
Yes.
Okay.
They thought he had died of old age, essentially. But instead, he'd been in stasis on a giant gold flying boat.
Stasis, like when you go into hypersleep?
Yes, hypersleep. Exactly, hypersleep. So, next up we have Baird. Baird is the Argivian recruiter. He was he just works in New Argive. New Argive being one of the towns.
Yeah.
We're going to learn more about Argive, the original Argive in the Brothers War series. So you'll get to see more about that. But yeah, essentially he's just a guy who wants to fight the Phyrexians and kill them.
So it's not necessarily my fault. I don't know what Argive is.
No, it still is.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good. I mean, the whole point of these is so that people can experience the story in a newer, fresher way. So that's why we have a series that slowly builds up.
Argive sounds like archive.
That's exactly right.
Is that...
They all use artifacts there. They're very heavily reliant on the Argivian.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we have Balmor, the Battle Mage Captain. This is a bird wizard.
Ooh.
Yes, the Aven of this plane, they're usually either blue or white. This one is blue-red, so that's an interesting part of it. It's also from New Argive.
It's a spicy bird.
Yes, it is, Carol. It's a very spicy bird.
It's like when you go to Popeyes.
Mm-hmm.
you get like the little family pack or whatever, and you get spicy and regular.
Love that Balmor from Popeyes.
Red is spicy.
Yeah, so essentially he's just a really smart bird. That's his entire deal. He's a tactician. That's everything we need to know about him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then we have Baru, which is interesting. Baru is it's an older legend. He's a druid from Croatia. Croatia was a whole deal that happened with the Mirari and Kamal and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And essentially, Croatia itself was destroyed by a bunch of different apocalypses that happened.
Croatia, not just one apocalypse, it needed multiple to be destroyed.
Well, yeah, the entirety of Dominaria had been hit by so many apocalypsi that it's kind of ridiculous.
Apocalypses.
Yes. Apocalyptico.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, basically now they have giant worms. That's his whole deal. A lot of these are like that, where it's like
for the bird people to eat.
They're not giant birds.
No, the worm. Oh, yeah. But they're regular-sized bird people.
Yes.
But the worm is...
Well, they're human-sized bird people. They're not bird-sized bird people.
So that's... Bird people are people-sized.
Yes. Not bird-sized.
But the worm is bigger.
The worm is like train-sized. It's a good meal. Also, they're not worms with an O, they're worms with a U.
Like in The Mandalorian.
They're yes, sure. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Bladewing, the Deathless Tyrant. Bladewing is basically just a giant dragon skeleton. He showed up, we expect, during the... Yes. I have a like a list of them for a girl to look at.
Yeah, well, you're not really showing me the pictures.
Okay.
That is cool.
Yes. So essentially his name used to be Rorix, and then he died. And then they brought him back, and he's just terrible.
Rorix.
Rorix. Rorix. Rorix. He has descendants.
What's his name now?
Bladewing, the Risen. Oh. His full name was Rorix Bladewing.
Oh.
But now they call him Bladewing, the Deathless Tyrant.
Oh.
The first time he was brought back, he was Bladewing, the Risen.
Oh.
Who could also resurrect other dragons, according to the card.
And now he's a tyrant.
Deathless Tyrant.
Death.
And currently at war with Kerox and Verix, who are his descendants. Obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
Then we have Bortuk Bone Rattle. Bortuk Bone Rattle is basically just a troll.
He kind of sounds like the perfect person to go up against the dragon skeleton.
Why is that?
Bone Rattle.
So,
Okay, fine. Alright, okay, continue. Tell me more.
I like the idea that your idea of like, oh, this is a lion. This means this person with a dandelion can defeat him. Yeah, obviously, of course.
You've had someone named the Lion Shaker, like Ted Lion Shaker.
That's it's short into Lasso.
You would send him to fight the lion.
Anyways, Bone Rattle is a necromancer. He wants to bring back his troll family. That's his entire deal.
Yeah.
He wants to resurrect his entire species.
That's nice.
Then we have Braids. Braids is absolutely insane.
Oh, I've seen Baird.
Yes?
Because we did the pack opening.
That's correct.
She was on the... She got Baird.
Actually, the majority of these cards we saw during the pack openings. Basically, every single one of these were there.
This is awkward.
Because we opened up a ton of packs. And it was this set. So that's where we saw these characters that showed up.
I remember Braids.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially Braids is the new leader of the Cabal, much to the chagrin of a character we're going to be seeing soon, Lagomos. So, now we have Cadrick, the Soul Kindler. Cadrick is a dwarf.
Okay.
And there's not really...
Is that, the preferred term in Magic lore?
Dwarf is a species. It's not referring to dwarfism. It's referring to...
I just want to make sure...
These are literally hi-ho dwarves. Anyways, Cadrick is a dwarven echo mage. Echo mages are not something that you often see. The basic idea is that they're able to conjure up an exact duplicate of, or not exact, but magical duplicates of other beings.
Oh, I was thinking more like echolocation.
Yes, we have a short daredevil. That's what this is. This is a short, bearded daredevil.
They communicate with a whale.
Anyways, basically he has a really interesting story in the fact that he's looking for a sound that he can hear deep in the Carplusian Mountains. He calls it the first song. And he believes that it has something to do with a rare magical ore.
So it is echolocation.
Sure, Carol, sure it is. Denitha Capuchin. She is the heir to Bonalia. And she's essentially like the superhero of Bonalia. She's able to fight all these people. She's super cool and awesome. And she kills her dad once he becomes a Phyrexian.
Oh, this is the guy we talked about at the beginning.
That is correct.
Who was killed by his daughter.
Yep.
This is the daughter.
Yep.
Heard.
Yes, and she also was in the actual main storyline of what we did in our Legendary Wars.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should watch those.
Yeah, you should. Gaedron Dihara is a planeswalker. She is an incredibly ancient, demonic, evil, serpentine woman. And she has been plotting for millennia. She's done things such as corrupting Solkanar and Dakim Blackblade, both of which would be important to you if you had any idea what I was talking about. But yeah.
Serpentine.
Anyways, she basically was working with Phyrexians to an extent during this whole deal. And she has basically something planned for Jared Carthalion.
So she's on the bad guy team.
She's a bad guy. She is one of the baddest of guys.
A bad guy does not mean
She
you're
is
a bad
she
guy.
is bad guy. She is very bad guy. Elas Ilkor, the Sadistic Pilgrim, however, is a Phyrexian core cleric. And her whole deal is that she basically is first of all, there's N and Il. N is a prefix, essentially means that they were good. Il means they were bad. So then N core and Il core, that was the two different groups of core people. Core being a species. Are you tracking?
Yeah.
So this person is a descendant of the Ilkor. During the Wrathy overlay, when an entire plane was overlaid onto Dominaria for the Phyrexian invasion, they kind of got trapped there because there was no longer a separate plane.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, basically, she works with Shaldred.
I know about overlays because when you're doing your digital art and you want to make the colors kind of mesh better, you do like an orange overlay over the whole thing, lower the opacity.
Cool. Well, can you name this one right here?
Emperor Mikhail II?
Thank you. So, Emperor Mikhail II is a merfolk. Is a merfolk basically ruling Vidalia. Vidalia is one of the largest kingdoms in Dominaria.
Is it underwater?
It is. It's under the sea.
Under the sea.
And so basically, Mikhail is torn between a desire to kind of right all the wrongs in the world, and also he's afraid of basically making everything an autocracy. Then the Phyrexians showed up, and now he's like, okay, well, now I have to destroy everything.
Everything?
Everything. Okay, then
Not
we have
just the Phyrexians.
the
but
Phyrexians
just everything?
specifically. He needs to fight the Phyrexians, but
Okay,
he doesn't want
I
to.
thought his plan was like,
Just bomb
destroy
the-
my kingdom.
to
The
distract them.
Phyrexians can't have it.
There's actually a few cards in the set that talk about how the merfolk would specifically sink Phyrexian ships with like sleeper agents on them. They would accidentally go off course, and they wouldn't know what's going on because they were just tide shapers underneath the water, changing where they're going.
Whoops. Okay.
And then we have Urte every day.
Oh, I thought he had a big head.
What?
But that was just his neck.
No, this is
Oh, I'm looking at someone else entirely? No, this is
the same guy. The same guy.
Okay. Well, just, like, you moved through the picture so quickly, everything was like... Anyways.
So Urte is one of the coolest members of this whole deal because he comes from the original Weatherlight story, and he was believed to be dead for basically ever. And he recently...
Haven't you said that about, like, 3 of the characters now?
Yeah, but this one has actual story behind him.
Oh.
Astor was more like, people thought he was dead, but he's not. And, like, he did show up in the past, but he's kind of irrelevant.
Okay, Urte.
Urte, however, finally became the captain of the Weatherlight after it was completed. And he also, if you haven't seen it, figured out a way to actually kill Karn. You'll have to actually watch the episode to see what I'm talking about. But besides all that, let's move on. He also got sparted off of a cliff, and we don't know what happened to him after that.
Wait.
He's definitely alive.
So do people think he's dead because of the cliff thing?
No, they thought he was dead because he was eviscerated by Squee exploding a resurrection device. They absolutely obliterated him.
Oh. Okay.
Cool.
You said he was one of the coolest characters, and then you did... So what was the coolest part about him?
The fact is that he started off as a good guy. He was extremely arrogant. Everybody hated him.
Oh, okay.
He gets abandoned accidentally. They thought he sacrificed himself to save them, but he feels like they...
Oh, I remember you telling me about this dude.
Yes. And because of that, he allows himself to be transformed by Phyrexia and completed. He becomes Urte corrupted.
Oh.
He then takes Squee and starts just torturing him constantly.
Oh.
Squee had been cursed by Yawgmoth to basically become immortal.
Yeah.
But Squee had Squee's toy, which allowed him to be able to get around death. And so the Yawgmoth curse and Squee's toy together made him functionally unkillable. So that no matter what you did to him, he would resurrect.
Yeah.
And so essentially Urte was just continuously killing him.
Yeah.
Once Krovax got bored of doing it. And then Urte also had this machine that he would basically just go to improve himself constantly.
Oh.
And Squee overloaded it and it exploded
On
and
purpose?
killed them both.
Okay.
Because Squee's a goblin. And
I know.
Yeah. And goblins blow stuff up without trying.
Oh.
And Urte was extremely upset that he was outsmarted by a dumb goblin.
Well, that's rude.
And now Ortega got back, and he hates everybody because...
Wait, is he Phyrexian or no?
Oh, he's very Phyrexian.
Oh.
He's extremely Phyrexian.
I thought this was good guy.
No, this is not good
I thought
guy.
you were about to tell me he was a good guy, then he was a bad guy, then he was a good guy.
Oh, no, he's just... He went from good
there.
guy to bad guy to badder guy. Now he's... I believe next time we go to Dominaria, he will be baddest guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Garna, the Blood Fist of Keld. Garna's basically just a warlord. She is from Keld, and that's her entire... that's who she is as a person. She's working with Radha, despite the fact they have a rivalry kind of thing going on. They're specifically working together because of the Phyrexians. Why are the two jellyfish fighting each other?
Fight.
We then have Green Sleeves, the Morrow Sorcerer. Green Sleeves was once the High Wizard of the Domains.
I actually have a lot of green sleeves.
I know you do. And so Green Sleeves essentially is a really, 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 really old wizard who does eventually become a planeswalker in some continuities, though that is still somewhat up for debate because that was pre-revisionist, meaning it was before they actually did like an official lore. And Green Sleeves is just like really, really old. It seems that in that time frame, Green Sleeves became a Morrow Sorcerer, meaning that if they ever did have a spark, they no longer do, and instead they are just a super cool creature with protection from planeswalkers, and they are dedicated to defending Dominaria.
Okay.
Do
I have green sleeves?
You do. You do.
Like the actual card.
The card
yeah,
green
we
sleeves.
put in my green
Yes.
deck.
That is correct.
The one that has the green sleeves on it.
Yes.
The forest sleeves.
You're right.
The green sleeves.
You said it again. So, then we have Ivy, the gleeful spell thief. She's basically just a fairy. She just wants to keep people humble because there's so many overconfident people. And that's her entire deal. She lives in Teleria, messing with academics.
I will humble you.
Yeah, like she just looks for people that are uppity and knocks them down. That's her whole deal.
Take it down.
Jared Carthalion is a planeswalker. He's a super cool hero. He actually was not in any Magic cards for the longest time. He doesn't have a card. He does have a card, but he doesn't have a picture. Thank you. So, he is a descendant of Karth the Lion. Karth the Lion was a person who basically fought I believe it was the planeswalker Ravadel. And eventually Carthalion...
Is Jared the big white lion man?
That's a Johnny.
Okay.
I do like that you took the fact that I said Karth the Lion, though, and extrapolated off of that.
That's what I do. I extrapolate.
That said, Karth the Lion was more of a title for how vicious and noble he was, more than anything else.
Okay, like King so-and-so the Lion-Hearted.
Yeah. Jared had a descendant named Jensen Carthalion, and he also is an Elder Druid. And basically his whole deal is that he is taking Jared's place, trying to defend things in Corondor. That said, now he's in Yavimaya. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a Sarah Angel involved. He's got a whole story behind him, and I've been looking for where to actually read it, if it exists, or if it's just a bunch of stuff that happens to be a thing, and he's just fighting against Phyrexians for the sake of fighting against Phyrexians.
Oh.
And with that, we're going to just read. Let's see, do we have time for that? Yes, we do. We have time. Then we have Joyra. Joyra is a student of Urza. She was a student of Urza back when she was smaller, younger, much, much younger by several thousand years. And she was basically she worked with all these different artifacts and time and stuff like that. And she's a master artificer. She is brilliant. She's also Karn's best friend. Teferi had a crush on her. She dated Joda for a bit. It's an interesting time. She's really
feel
cool.
like I should be doing this more. Isn't this what Joe does?
Yes, but that's because he understands what's going on. And you're doing it because you don't.
She had a crush on Teferi?
No, Teferi had a crush on her.
Teferi.
You also don't know how to listen.
I don't know what you mean.
And at over 4,000 years of age, Joda is an Archmage, blessed with prodigious talent and eternal youth. Joda, as it turns out, thanks to what we've learned from the Brothers' War already, Joda is a direct descent.
Isn't Teferi a Pokemon?
No.
Clefairy?
Yes.
Ah. It's okay. Just keep going. It's okay.
Joda is a direct descendant of Urza. like a great-great-grandson kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, I know what great grandchildren are.
Okay, good. I would hope so. But yeah, he basically is using his clout as a very important person who's done a bunch of different things, just smashing mirrors across Jaya's face, in order to, it was a magic mirror. It knocked a demon out of her by reflecting her true self into him.
Okay.
It's weird. That was during the Ice Age. That was caused by Urza's ruinous blast.
Of course.
But yeah, essentially what happens is that Joda is now going around finding people and unifying them as a way to fight against the Phyrexians under the new coalition banner.
So this is a good guy.
He's a good guy. Joda is a good guy.
Okay.
And then the last good guy we'll talk about, and then followed by the last bad guy, are right here. King Darien. King Darien XLVIII, also known as
the 35th. I didn't take the time to look at the letters. Human
right
soldier.
It's right there.
Okay.
That is it right there. Can you do it?
New Argive.
48. Yes, thank you, Carol. It was 48. Ooh. King Darien the 48th is basically the king of New Argive. We've talked about Argive in the past, and he's kind of convinced that there's Phyrexians among them, so he has Baird helping him, and Sten is also there. So that's basically the entire thing behind him. Lagomos was...
I feel like I remember seeing his card when we did the card pack opening,
yes,
because there were a bunch of letters, and I was like, Roman numerals.
Yes. Then we have, of course, Lagomos. Lagomos is just he was a bad guy. He was leading the Cabal after Belzenlock was killed by Gideon, and then Braid showed up, and he was like, "But my job as leader," and she's like, "It's mine now." And then she took it. So that's Lagomos' entire deal. He's not very happy about it. He's scheming against her. Join us next time where we'll start off with Maria and round up and finish out all of these legends. Thank you, Surrogate Joe.
No problem.
Go ahead and close us out.
Travel well.
I'll take it.